On the afternoon of April 27th, it was reported online that a residential building in the community of Harbin City, Heilongjiang Province, showed signs of wall cracking. A video shot by a netizen shows that at first the crack was only about 10 centimeters long, but it soon enlarged to about 1 meter. As the gap grew larger, the building almost split in half, with one side leaning. This scene shocked everyone present.
In just a moment, this place has completely cracked. It wasn't cracked 10 minutes ago. Now the smell of gas is very strong. You could smell it from far away. It's too dangerous.
Local residents revealed that they could distinctly smell gas. Workers from Harbin City Gas Company said that the gas leak may have been caused by the cracking of the wall. After the incident, they shut off the main valve. After the relevant departments intervened, residents of the community were arranged to stay in hotels on the evening of the 27th. On the morning of the 28th, local authorities brought in excavators to demolish Building 10, which had collapsed and tilted. According to Chinese news media, from several second-hand housing websites, Kang'an Community was built between 1998 and 2000, with residential property rights of 70 years. There are a total of 39 buildings in the community, with an average price of over 6,000 yuan for second-hand units. However, despite the buildings being only over 20 years old, less than half of their intended lifespan, many problems such as wall cracking and exterior wall peeling have occurred. As early as 2022, they were identified as D-grade dangerous buildings, with some buildings already officially declared uninhabitable and in need of urgent evacuation. According to the Harbin Municipal People's Government, local experts have assessed the situation in Kang'an Community and found it serious. They identified 135 instances of exterior wall peeling and have fenced off the areas. The hazards have been partially eliminated and included in the 2023 Old Housing Renovation Project. In July 2022, the Daoli District People's Government of Harbin City issued a notice on its official website, stating that there were significant safety hazards in buildings 31 to 45 on Kang'an 3rd Road, which are also part of Kang'an Community. The authorities required the immediate evacuation of people, goods, and businesses inside and above the buildings, and the surrounding areas were to be sealed off. Residents were arranged to stay in hotels for several months. However, this did not solve the fundamental problem. In response to repeated inquiries from the public, the relevant departments stated that a special working group had been formed, that 1,300 yuan in housing funds were allocated to each household, and that they promised to quickly formulate and implement housing plans. However, some community owners pointed out that at that time, only some residents were resettled, and more than 100 households were forced to move only when the buildings began to tilt. In other words, Kang'an Community is a typical case of substandard construction, but it has never been properly addressed. It was not until now, when it finally cracked open, that the local government paid attention. After the accident, the phone calls to the Housing and Urban Rural Development Bureau of Daoli District, Harbin, have gone unanswered, sparking more questions from netizens about the official reports. Why were no measures taken to reinforce or demolish the building after it was determined to be dangerous? Although residents of Building 10 have been evacuated, residents of adjacent buildings remain in danger as the building continues to expand and tilt. There are 3 possible reasons for the wall cracking. One is that there was water accumulation in the indoor pipe trenches, soaking the foundation, softening the soil, and reducing its carrying capacity. Indeed, some residents have stated that the basement of Kang'an Community had been flooded before. However, the fact that a single flood could cause such problems shows how poor the construction quality was. Furthermore, from an architectural perspective, the cracking is likely due to foundation issues. If the foundation cannot bear the weight of the building, uneven settlement may occur, eventually leading to cracks. This situation is unlikely to happen suddenly, but rather over time. Official media also stated that the building's height and number of floors did not meet design specifications. The wall's load-bearing capacity was insufficient, leading to stress cracks. Uneven settlement of the foundation disrupted the state of stress equilibrium, causing the basement walls to lose their bearing capacity, leading to a chain reaction in adjacent walls, thereby affecting the upper walls. Official media also stated that it may be because most of the windows on the street side of the basement were converted to door openings, weakening the wall's stiffness and affecting the overall resistance of the building's external longitudinal walls. This explanation is unsatisfactory, as there are many similar buildings with similar structures, so why is it that only Kang'an Community's buildings are so fragile? Experts in the construction industry have pointed out that not a single part of this building meets national standards, and the issue of compensation may become tricky. It's well known that there are problems with the construction age, engineering quality, and building materials used. Kang'an Community was developed by Harbin City Real Estate Development Company Limited. After the collapse incident attracted widespread attention, Mr. Liu, who works for the developer, said that Building 10 was developed by the company's major shareholder, Mr. Wu, but Mr. Wu passed away several years ago, and he took over later. He said that he did not know which construction company built Kang'an Community. Many people expressed concern about the lack of accountability and feel uneasy living in such a community. Some people believe that such news will become more and more common in the next 30 years. China's substandard construction projects are all too common. A man built over 3 million yuan to buy a villa, only to have the exterior wall crushed by a construction worker. It was then discovered that the balcony and exterior walls, which were supposed to be reinforced concrete, were actually made of flammable foam. Fortunately, the problem was discovered early, otherwise it would have led to tragedy. To confirm the material of the foam, the man pressed it with his hand, and a large piece easily broke off. He then tried to burn it, and the foam quickly ignited, burning violently with thick smoke and a pungent smell. This man never imagined that the villa he had spent over 3 million yuan on turned out to be such a substandard construction, which was not only unsafe but also environmentally unfriendly. This is a luxury villa in Guangzhou, valued at tens of millions, yet the walls are made of foam. How much safety hazard does such a house pose? Have you ever seen a building that can be crushed with a foot? No one dares to live in such a building. These people just bought their houses and hadn't moved in yet, but they are already falling apart. The staircase falls apart with a step. The incident happened in the Yunda Linyu Chengnanting community in Chengdu. As a video of the crumbling staircase went viral, many homeowners protested. However, the property management simply brushed off the issue. Soon, vigilant homeowners discovered that the community's elevator also had safety hazards. Before moving in, the elevator showed extensive rust stains. An observer might think it was a cheap house, but this 100 square meter unit costs over 1.8 million yuan, and the property management fee is 2 yuan and 18 cents per square meter. This is the Tianjin Bailitai Country Garden community. Several high-rise buildings have serious issues such as tilting, wall detachment, and foundation cracking, leading to the emergency relocation of over 3,000 residents. Since June 5th of last year, homeowners have been posting videos showing that the foundation is tilting, a scale of ground subsidence rarely seen in the country. Residents' property values have plummeted severely. Some can no longer live there, resulting in huge losses. The development of this community perfectly exemplifies what a substandard construction project is. 90% of the external walls of the community have already fallen off. The Five Fortunes World, a so-called high-end community in Jushan County, Shiyan City, Hubei Province, is also a substandard construction project. Netizens could see that the building was crooked as soon as the tower began to be built. Recently, strong winds and heavy rains have revealed the true face of these shoddy projects. In Guangdong, recent severe weather has caused the entire outer wall of a building in Shenzhen to collapse, and in Dongguan, rows of windows and shelves have been blown away by strong winds. This is surveillance footage from a resident. On the night of March 29th, the balcony door was blown several meters away by a storm. Sometimes the construction workers are victims of their own buildings. When this construction site collapsed, it swallowed the workers in an instant. As soon as the wind blows, the wall peels off. Netizens estimate that buildings with cracks, leaks, and peeling walls account for 85% of the entire Chinese real estate market. Developers cut corners to embezzle construction funds. The term Tofu-Dreg project is synonymous with low-quality construction, posing a serious threat to public safety and property, making social stability and sustainable development impossible. Tofu-Dreg construction happens for a couple reasons. Firstly, some unscrupulous builders, in pursuit of huge profits, use inferior building materials. Secondly, some construction companies cut corners on processes or ignore construction standards. Furthermore, some local governments fail to fulfill their duties in approving and supervising construction projects, allowing some unqualified projects to pass inspection. Finally, insufficient public attention to construction quality issues allows some builders to disregard public safety. Poor building quality poses huge safety risks and economic losses to residents. The frequent occurrence of Tofu-Dreg projects has undermined public trust in the construction industry. Once a major accident caused by a Tofu-Dreg project occurs, its impact may affect entire regions or even the whole country, having a negative impact on economic development. Chinese experts also recognize the dangers of Tofu-Dreg projects.
Our houses have a lot of quality issues. Many of them are Tofu-Dreg projects. Many houses start leaking as soon as you move in, and you have to fix them shortly after. If it continues like this, the quality of life for us common people won't be very good. In the few years I've been in Shenzhen, I've met many friends who are involved in old city renovations, renovating old houses. I was shocked when I heard about it. Shenzhen is such a young city. How can there be so many renovations? When we visited, we saw that the houses weren't good and needed renovation. But everyone should pay attention to the age of buildings. Some are just over 20 years old, some are not even 40 years old. Shenzhen Special Economic Zone is only 40 years old. It's evident how poor the quality of our previous houses were. But can a country like China afford to tear down and rebuild homes every 30 or 40 years? If that's the case, the quality of life for us common people won't be very good. Always tearing down, always building. You go to Europe, you go to the UK, including some small towns in the United States. Their houses may look quite old on the surface, but the quality is not a problem. They don't have bulldozers and excavators everywhere all day long. This is a big problem. Economically speaking, often under the premise of excessively pursuing efficiency, you sacrifice quality. This is a general rule of things.
On May 1st, a road collapsed and a bridge fractured in Meizhou, Guangdong Province. The incidents led to subsequent vehicle fires, resulting in multiple deaths. This is Chaozi Bridge in Jiangxi's Fuzhou City, which was completed just 3 years ago with an investment of 200 million yuan. Recently, a gust of wind blew down the bridge's guardrail. Videos circulating online show the collapse of the white stone guardrail on one side of the bridge, with stone fragments scattered on the ground. The collapsed section had a total length of about 140 meters. The local transportation bureau responded that there was no problem with the quality of the bridge, attributing the collapse to the strong wind. The Jiangxi Meteorological Observatory did issue an orange wind warning on the same day, acknowledging that the extreme weather may have been a factor. However, as a key project with an investment of 195 million yuan in 2021, questions are raised about whether this bridge is too fragile. Additionally, on April 13th, around 4 p.m., in the fourth section of the G240 National Highway in Jiangmen, Guangdong Province, a steel support on the bridge pier on the north bank of Tanjiang River collapsed during renovation. The incident is believed to involve issues such as material quality, improper construction practices, and lack of supervision. The road surface in Daxing District, Beijing, crumbled despite just being repaired a few months ago. Netizens continue to expose Tofu-Dreg projects in videos. This is a pier that is being dismantled. Unexpectedly, a pile of sand came out from inside. China has a long history of building bridges, with ancient Zhaozhou Bridge being famous worldwide, and the Luoyang Bridge built during the Song Dynasty, which has been around for 952 years, as well as the Lugou Bridge, which has been around for 819 years and can still carry a load of 400 tons. During the Industrial Revolution, classical Chinese bridges were seen as outdated, so the first Yellow River Bridge was built by Germans, and the first Yangtze River Bridge was built with Soviet assistance, and they are still operating safely. However, in the 21st century, China became first in bridge design and construction speed, but these bridges had the worst quality. Since the collapse of the Shaoguan Bridge in Guangdong more than 10 years ago, similar bridge accidents have occurred frequently. For example, the Rainbow Bridge in Qijiang, Chongqing, collapsed only after 3 years from completion, as a team of armed police officers and soldiers marched past. The incident caused 40 deaths and was allegedly caused by the soldiers goose-stepping. The Zhejiang Bridge in Guangdong collapsed because a ship carrying sand hit a pier, causing the bridge to break. Of a bridge built by China in Madagascar occurred only half a year after it was opened to traffic. What's even more bizarre is that the Fenghuang Bridge in Xiangxi collapsed suddenly shortly after its completion, causing the deaths of more than 60 migrant workers. Even the pedestrian bridge at Kunming Airport collapsed during construction. How many dark secrets and interests are involved in these Tofu-Dreg projects? Well-known writer and commentator Li Changpeng once said that every time a new project starts, several billionaires are born. Every time a project is completed, another group of unknown construction workers will have met their fates. The dishonesty in China is so entrenched that it is practically a way of life. In the face of man-made disasters caused by corruption and malfeasance, the Chinese Communist Party usually sweeps things under the rug. Then they deal with the subsequent negative impacts through falsification and blame shifting. This kind of routine has been used by the CCP to the point that ordinary people expect it. Netizens say that the CCP government is more inclined to solve the people who expose the problem rather than solve the actual problem. Under the rule of the CCP, catastrophic events caused by shoddy construction will continue to occur.